Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So in here what I would like to do is look at a short-term let or an Airbnb. In Scotland you started to need an Airbnb license as of a couple of years ago. So what that means is that you can't simply take a property, put it on booking.com and Airbnb and start making money. The government wants you to have a license for operating that, and that causes a lot more hassle. So I'll talk a little bit about the license in this video, but mainly I'm going to focus on how much do you need to really equip your property for an Airbnb business. Then when you're running it, how much monthly are you likely going to be spending? And then what kind of income can you anticipate from your Airbnb? So those are the key topics I hope you enjoy. And this is based on my own Airbnb flat, so they're quite realistic numbers. All right, so initially, when you've got a flat and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do it as Airbnb, I'm going to do it as a short-term let, assuming it's a 2-bedroom apartment or house, firstly, you have to put a bed into each one of the bedrooms. You also need the bedside table or drawers, I would recommend. A wardrobe or something similar where people can hang their clothes and store a few things, because some people might be there for a week plus, so it's worth accommodating for that and making them feel at home. And then drawers just for any storage. So that kind of completes the normal bedroom look or layout. That's roughly what I would recommend, and obviously doing that twice for each of the bedrooms. I have allowed 50 quid for accessories. That can just be buying like a small clock for the wall and like a little picture somewhere on the bed. Somewhere on the wall. In the living room, I would put some nice comfortable sofas. People are going to be spending a lot of time there, potentially watching the TV, so you want to make them feel nice and comfy. TV and TV unit, £500 for that. So you want a nice large TV with a decent unit under it, just to make it a nice atmosphere, a nice homely atmosphere, because that's how you're going to get your reviews and that's how you're going to get people to enjoy. Table and chairs, again, decent size, 4 to 6 chairs, decent size table where people can have dinner, lunch, breakfast, chill out, etc. So again, something that's worth putting in. When you get to the kitchen, I would put the basics such as a toaster, microwave, kettle, relatively cheap things. Then you get the fridge as well, because people are going to potentially do the shopping and they need a fridge to store all that in, fridge, freezer. Washing machine, I put £200, a decent enough washing machine is worth putting in. Then I put other £200. It can be various things. You might want to put a dryer in. You might want to put a coffee machine in. And it could be various other expenses. You need the cutlery. Relatively basic will do, but cutlery, glasses, pots and pans seems like small things, but can really add up to 100, 200 quid easily. Bedding and towels. So you want to buy a few sets of towels for the people and for the guests. You want to buy a few sets of bedding for each bed, so that when you're washing it, you've got another one to put on. Then for us, that was pretty much everything. But then when we applied for the license, they also asked us to change the locks, because they wanted it to open without the key from the inside. So we had to do that. That was £150 for 2 locks. And also the signs, that's the emergency exit signs, which are illuminated. So when you look out at night and you come out, there's a fire and you're looking for the exit, you can see where it is. And because of that lock, you can, even if you don't have the key, you can still open that door. So it's just a few sort of fire safety items that are worth considering. So that was my experience. So yeah, you're looking at about £4.8 to £5,000. I would really take that into account, because when you've got an empty flat, you think, oh, I'm going to go buy a few things from Facebook Marketplace, I'm going to furnish it in no time, I'm going to spend no money. If you put crap into it, you're going to get bad reviews. So you want to put decent mattresses, decent beds. I've cheaped out on the mattress and the bed, and I had so much headache. I've regretted it a million times. So just be sensible. Don't go and buy the most fancy orthopedic mattress for £2,000, but put in something decent that people are going to be comfortable with and enjoy. So that's the initial cost. In terms of the monthly costs, you're going to have your gas for heating, cooking, you're going to have your electricity, council tax, TV license. Some people don't pay it. I don't see how you cannot pay it for an Airbnb. There's a TV there. It's connected to the channels. Unless you go to every single guest and ban them from watching the TV, you kind of need to pay the TV license. Those people are annoying. They might come to the house. They might disturb your guests. You're just better off paying it and not worrying about it. Internet, about £30. You want something relatively decent speed so that people can work from home and have a decent connection. Cleaning is £100 if you do it yourself, so you'll be buying bleach, buying different products. It can go up a fair bit, so if you're actually using a cleaner, they can be maybe £30-40 each time. And what that means is that you could be 10 times a month for cleaning, maybe a bit less. So this can climb up to £300-400 if you use a cleaner. However, it depends how hands-on or hands-off you want to be with your Airbnb. We clean it ourselves currently because we've only got one, but maybe if you've got a few, you obviously need a cleaner, so this will go up. Bedding, 40 quid. The reason I'm saying that is because you need to update your bed, upgrade, or whatever you want to call it. Just replace it from time to time because people stay in it. It doesn't always wash off. People are not as clean as they should be. So they can rip it. They can steal cushions. It's all weird stuff that goes on in short-term lets. So allow yourself a bit of money just to be buying new stuff from time to time. License. So to get a license, it's a 3-year license. It's £350 approximately. But then you might need to get a certificate of lawfulness or planning permission. Last time I did that, I had to pay £50 for some drawings that they've asked for. There's a bunch of other requirements that can cost money to obtain. So taking it over the course of 3 years, a monthly payment of about £20 a month for the license, I think it's reasonable. 30 quid a month for insurance, house insurance and public liability insurance, which you need. Gas check, electrical check, and Legionella together about £16 a month, reasonable-ish. So with that in mind, you are talking about £500 a month for the monthly sort of expenses. But then how did you finance your Airbnb? Have you got a mortgage on it? Have you got a loan? Are you paying something for it? So without the mortgage, that's roughly the number. If you have a cleaner, that goes up a fair bit more. And whatever your mortgage is, that gets added on to that, of course. Assuming you've got a cleaner, you might need to add another 300 quid a month. So you might be at £800. So that's roughly the minimum you need to make in order to keep this business afloat in terms of the monthly expenses. So hopefully that's useful. In terms of income, people always talk about occupancy rates, but for us, we've had the Airbnb. It's not even central for over a year, and it's almost always full. There's always people wanting to stay there. You just need to get the price right. So I would say it's between £70 and £100. So 70 will give you 1,890, £100 will give you 2.7. So maybe sort of £80 a month is a reasonable middle ground, which will give you around 2.16k per month. So your profit is that minus the expenses, so 1649. Then your profit, if you have a cleaner, can be this minus those expenses and then minus another 300 quid or so for the cleaner, maybe even 400 just in case. So you're looking at 1269, but you're hands off and you can scale, etc. So there's an advantage to that. But then also if you've got a mortgage, then that decreases further. I suppose if you were to compare, let's see, profit 1, profit 2. If you were to compare this with a buy-to-let profit, the same flat that we've got can probably rent for about £850 per month. So £850 per month. But some of the stuff still has to be paid. So for example, £850 a month, the gas, electricity, council tax, TV license, internet will be paid for by the tenants. There will be no cleaning, no bedding, no license. There will still be insurance, but maybe it's going to be like 20 quid instead of 30. There will still be gas and electric checks, so there will still be about 20 quid. And there will still be the same mortgage. So, taking mortgage aside, with an Airbnb, you're making 12 to 1600, maybe even more, because maybe 15 to 900. So between 1,200 and 2,000 pounds after expenses. With a buy to let, it's 800 pounds. So you're pretty much doubling your income. So it can be very lucrative and very good. But it is a bit more work, and you do need to have that discipline and make sure you look after the reviews, you look after the guests, you're available to answer any questions that they might have, or you have a good management agent. But with them, just be careful, because there'll be higher cleaning fees, they'll take their own cut, etc. So it will eat into your profits. So hopefully that gave you a good idea of my experience with Airbnb and the numbers, where you could realistically be with an Airbnb. If you have any questions, drop a note in the comments, subscribe, and looking forward to the next video. Thanks all.